to 4 here as on this Monday we get ready for Met baseball tonight. Yankees have the night off. They'll start their series at home against the Red Sox. Mets on the road against the Reds. We'll start Conlon, who does not have a very, very flashy ERA in the minors. So that's the start tonight against Bailey, as the Mets will visit the Reds, who are just... I picked them as one of my unders this year. Once in a while, you get a rocking chair one, and this is a rocking chair. They are 8-26. Now, there's a couple other teams playing really that badly. The White Sox, the Orioles are playing on that level, but 8-26. I mean, you're 4-14 at home. I mean, it doesn't get much worse than that, but that's where the Mets will hang their hat for a couple of days. And Cespedes is in the lineup tonight. He is not sitting out. He's back in the lineup. Conforto's back in the lineup. So the Mets will see if they can get back to winning ways here. And to me, I don't like this idea that, hey, we're fine. It's just a little bump in the road. It's not a bump in the road. They need to fix things. They don't have a back of the rotation right now. They don't have a catcher that's of any major league quality right now. They need to shake things up right now. You don't wait for this to happen. Washington's not going to be sitting there forever. They were lucky enough that Washington got off to a terrible start. Washington's not going to be sitting there for long. They're back to where they can make their move now. Daniel in Brooklyn starts us off. What's up, Daniel?
I feel like I'm in the twilight zone, Mike. Didn't we have this conversation last year about Cespedes? I was at the game yesterday, and he made a move back to first base, and then afterwards you saw him stand there, and he was literally punching at his quad. The guy has bad quads. He clearly strained it a little, even if it's a small strain. Why play him tonight? We cannot lose a player like this again for 2 months.
Well, listen, I got to feel, Daniel, if they cannot in any way have enough of a communication relationship and be thorough enough that they can know whether their player's risking injury tonight, there's no help for him, okay? Yesterday, to hear that he had a hip injury and then he had a groin injury, and then not hearing till way later, after the manager had already spoke about those injuries, that he has a quad injury. I mean, enough of this stuff. I mean, the Mets just foul up everything, and there's always some issue of communications with Cespedes. But, hey, I'm going to believe that if Cespedes can't play, he'd make that very clear tonight. He's been around a long time. He knows his legs. He's not shy of taking himself out of the game. So I got to feel if he's in there tonight, he knows he can play. But, I mean, you don't want to overreact to stuff. But right now, it's not about just the fact that they're not hitting. It's not about the fact that they've played badly over the last 20 games. What it's about is I don't see a complete team. And I don't see them remedying the situation. They don't have a rotation behind the big two right now. And you got one of the big two hurt and one of them confused. Right now, Syndergaard's clearly off his game. DeGrom's on the DL, and that's your 1-2 punch. That has to be perfect for you to have any chance to even be decent. And now you have nothing behind them. I mean, you look at these numbers for the Mets. Other than, and I don't want to get in Lagares because he's had a handful of games. He's hitting 300, but other than Cabrera, who has played very, very well. And I'm not going to worry about Cespedes. He's going to knock in runs. He's going to hit home runs. Cespedes is going to produce runs. We know that. Frazier's been about what you'd expect. Flores has not gotten started at all. They need him, especially against lefties. Bruce has been awful. I mean, you can't have 2 home runs and 10 RBIs. Conforto has been dreadful. Gonzalez has had really 3 big hits. The shortstop has not looked good at all offensively. The catches are absolutely automatic outs. There is just not a lot here to even hang your hat on. And you can't tell me, where is the strength of this team? It's funny, the last couple of years, all you heard was the complaint. Well, the Mets, they're so reliant on a home run. When they don't hit the home run, they don't score. Well, now they don't hit the home run, so you don't have to worry about that anymore because now they don't hit any homers. Ryan in Massapequa, what's up, Ryan?
Hey, Mike, what's going on?
What's happening?
I completely understand what you're saying. I just think, people were so quick to say when the Mets started 11-1, be careful. It's not going to continue this way the entire season. These are games that the Mets are going to really need later in the season when they do go on these losing streaks. And I think as quickly as the Mets went from being a team that started 11-1 and now I guess they've lost 14 out of their last 20, I think it is.
Yes.
I mean, I think it is definitely not time to panic yet, and I think this is the perfect time for them to be in Cincinnati as well.
I disagree. I don't see how they get it. I want to see how they're going to – tell me how they're going to get better. Who in the rotation is going to emerge behind the big two?
Well, look at Matz the other day. I mean, didn't he pitch 6 innings? I mean, with 2 runs. I mean, the Mets couldn't offensively produce. I mean, these guys eventually have to come around. I mean, wouldn't you think Wheeler and Matz? I mean, they couldn't be any worse at this point. Don't you think these guys are eventually going to turn it around?
Listen, I can't count on anybody on that team right now behind the big two. Now, the big two, you got DeGrom on the DL, and Syndergaard's a little lost right now for him. He didn't pitch terribly yesterday. He pitched 6 innings, gave 2 runs. Now, he walked a lot of guys, which is very rare for him. He doesn't walk anybody. Yesterday, he walked the ballpark. He walked in a run, which you never see. But he's clearly got something going on here, because when do you see him with the bases loaded throw back-to-back changeups? Guy throws 100 miles an hour. What is he throwing changeups for? So I don't like what I'm seeing from him. DeGrom's hurt. And who are you counting on that can give you 7 good innings? Behind those two.
But shouldn't even the Mets, I mean, we're even talking about offensively for a second.
All right, how about the catching situation? Is it unfair to try to have them find a catcher who can actually play in the major leagues?
No, the catching is a disaster, but why not even, we're talking about platooning Nimmo and Lagares. Lagares hasn't hit in the last couple of years. We rely on him on defense. Why don't we just commit to somebody like Nimmo then? I mean,
Listen, I'm willing to give him a chance. I'm willing to give Cespedes Lagares a chance. Let him platoon. I don't care about that. I don't trust either one of them. I don't think they're any good. I think they got to get Conforto started. He's got to get jump started. If he's hurt, tell us he's hurt. If he's not hurt, figure out what the heck's going on here. You can't act like everything's all right when these guys aren't producing anything. And some places they clearly need to upgrade their talent. Problem is, I don't think they have anything in the system, which is an indictment. They don't have anything in the system to get anybody. They can't even get a workable catcher. Their catchers are they're non-competitive players. I'm not trying to knock them. They can't play. They have the lowest position batting average at catcher. They're I believe, either first or second in all of baseball for putting out the players with the worst competitive numbers at that position, at any position. And what are you doing putting Conforto in the game yesterday against a lefty who's going to make him look sick? Why? How is that going to help him? That's how you pick your spot for him? And then when you're running Reyes, did you look down the lineup? What were you going to use for a pinch hitter if you run Reyes there for Flores? You're going to bring in a catcher who takes strike 3 because he's an automatic out. Anthony in Bridgewater. What's up, Anthony?
Hey, Mike. Thanks for taking my call. First off, welcome back. It's so great to hear.
Thank you.
Days like this, when you're a Mets fan and you're looking forward to your response to this terrible weekend, I love it. So a couple of things. First off, I agree with you 100%, Mike. This is disaster mode time. This is stop it before it sinks time, because let's be honest, this is a win-now team. These guys are not getting younger, and the guy that I'm concerned about, and you touched on it, Mike, who is Michael Conforto? Is he the all-star, or is he the guy 2 years ago who had to get sent down twice because he was hitting 100? See, I'm concerned, Mike, because they've been putting a lot of stock in Conforto that he's that guy, but we've seen Michael Conforto the last 3 years be 2 different players. And this year, if he's not hurt, he's looking like that guy who can get sent down to AAA, Mike. He's 100.
Well, every time I see him, he's in the dugout having a conference with somebody about his swing. Every single time, and that's not good.
The biggest comparison between the Michael Conforto this year and the one 2 years ago, whatever it was, 2.5 years ago, is he strikes out every time up.
That's exactly right.
He doesn't even make contact. He looks lost at the plate. And then Callaway's putting him against the lefty yesterday. It's absurd.
What is the point? You're giving him a day off for a mental health day to clear his head, and then you put him in against a guy who's dealing like crazy and who's going to make him look sick at the plate? Why would you do that? It made no sense. Anthony in Colonia. What's up, Anthony?
Hey, how you doing, Mike? Welcome back.
Good, thank you. What's up?
I want to talk about the Mets real quick. I know this is probably outlandish, but the series coming up against the Reds, happen to get swept in that series or lose a series, Mickey Callaway, is he on the hot seat?
Oh, God, now, come on now. That isn't serious, okay? But I would like this. Can we put him on the hot seat and maybe he would at least act like something is urgent instead of the process? You know, we don't want to be rash here. We want to make sure everything is part of the process. As long as they are coming to the ballpark and processing the plan. Okay, what exactly is the plan that has every Met hitting 100? And exactly what's the game plan for Syndergaard right now, who looks completely lost on the mound? You got Syndergaard out there acting like he's got an 87-mile-an-hour fastball. The guy's got a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. And he's afraid to throw it. Ellie in Lakewood. What's up, Ellie?
Hey, Mike. First of all, welcome back.
Thank you, Ellie. What's up?
You have a big following here in Lakewood,
Thank you.
Nation.
Thank you. Thank you to all
We're
the
looking
Mongols.
forward to that. We really are.
Thank you. Thank you.
About the Mets, to go from something positive like you coming back to the Mets. First of all, I can't agree with you with the process stuff. They make it sound like they have the Braves young players or the 76ers. They have a bunch of old players who are hitting 100.
I mean, come on with the process. You're right. I mean, the Braves come in here and they have glowing players. They got these 20 years old studs. And, you're
Right.
looking at the Mets, you're saying, you know what, in a year, how the heck are the Mets going to beat the Braves?
It's unbelievable, Mike. But the only question I have for you, Mike, is why do you stop before taking Sandy Alderson to the cleaners? This guy, every offseason, goes out. He overspends on mediocre talent that does not improve the team. He spent $80 million this year, Mike, on players that do not help the team. They're average players. Vargas, Reyes, Frazier, Bruce, these guys, they were a 70-win team last year, Mike. How is that?
Ellie, you're very right. Right now, Sandy deserves anything you say about him. I totally agree. He's done a terrible job with this team. And listen, I can't finish Vargas off after 2 starts. I got to give him a little more time, but you can't like anything you've seen so far. And they did not improve this team. Listen, I like the Frazier signing. I think it makes sense. They needed somebody who would stand in front of his locker. They needed somebody who would be a leader on this team. I think he's absolutely a superb fit for this team in every way. Leadership, spark, he'll knock in runs, he's a pro, everything. I have no problem with him being there. I think it's a very smart signing. I have no problem with that. But otherwise, and listen, this team has to have Conforto and Cespedes hitting. It cannot win without those two. Is he with us? All right, let's get to DeRose. You can watch DeRose.